in the
Yeah,
chat.
there's no reason to like do big Thanksgivings right now. I mean,
Yeah,
I know people haven't seen each other, but it's like it's gonna get ugly in the next few weeks.
yeah, oh, it definitely is. Um, Let me refresh that. Oh, there we are.
All right, stream is looking good.
For that ad to be finished. Could log in case I want to chat with everyone.
Mm-hmm. Close that out. Had like 85
Yeah,
tabs open.
yeah, same. I'll go ahead and start recording.
Rampage.
Rampage.
Rampage, like
I just,
you need news. I got news. I'm
yeah,
like 8 things of news in the email. I'm like,
I saw the emails and I was like, well, we're not going to be
yeah.
short on things to talk about tonight. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start recording on my end.
All right.
I'll just say this: you're lucky I came back home.
Oh yeah,
I wanted to stay out there.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'll talk a little bit about it whenever we officially start, but
Yeah.
it was fun.
Did you get to hook up the TurboGrafx yet?
I'm gonna do that this weekend.
Okay.
I
Mixmaster's
figured
in the house too. What's up, Mixmaster?
Mixmaster, welcome. Yeah,
Ah,
one of the TurboGrafx games will be my next review, and then Soul Blazer will be something that I'll play like during my Christmas break.
yeah.
That way, I'll have like some extended time with it.
I'm gonna get Link's Awakening for Christmas break. I'm gonna try to find it on a. I might get it this weekend actually, because Nintendo's got some Black Friday deals going on.
It's a smart
I
idea.
think you can pick it up for like $30 right now.
I have little to no doubt that you'll like it. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, I'm sure.
it's a Zelda game. That was why I
Um,
was glad they remastered it, because like as fun as Breath of the Wild was, it was nice to go back and play like a traditional
oh
top
yeah.
down, like old school Zelda game.
Hell, knowing me, I might go back and play another Breath of the Wild playthrough. You never know.
I think about it off and on, and I'm like, I could just create a new profile
Yeah.
and do it that way, but I'm like, I've already put well over 100 hours into that game,
Same.
so I'm like, it doesn't need to take up more of my time.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm good to
Let's
go
see.
if you are, if I can remember how to do this. It's been a
Yep,
while.
I've got all my tabs open and everything, so I'm all set, sir.
All right. Here we go in three, two, one. Do you like this show and you want to help support us? Do you want us to stay ad free? Do you want extra episodes every month? Well, of course you do. Then head over to patreon.com/nerdcaveretro. Become a Patreon supporter of this very show. Greetings, programs, and happy Thanksgiving. We are here for another episode of the Nerd Cave Retro Show. My name is Jason Robbins.
And my name is Derek Diamond.
So it's been a few weeks since we've been here, and I'm trying to remember how to do everything.
Yeah, I feel like I
Yeah.
haven't done a podcast in like a month, because the last
No.
couple of episodes of my show I batch recorded. So I literally have not done a true like new podcast in almost 3 weeks.
Well, I hope everybody enjoyed last week's episode where I put up an old episode of Pop Culture Palette from like 2015. One of the very first shows that me and Derek Diamond ever did together. It was not a round table, it was a crossover episode with the Nerd Cave guys and Pop Culture Palette. And I had gone back and listened to the episode just to make sure it was a good pick, because I listened to like two or three different episodes. that we did, and that was my favorite one because it had some good, really good moments in it. So I hope everybody enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was fun to go back and listen to it, and it's crazy to think, it's only been what that episode came out 5 years ago,
Hmm.
but it seems like another lifetime
I
because
know.
I know I, for me, I'm in a completely different position now than I was then. So it's crazy to see how much has changed. But either way, it was fun to go back and listen to that. So I was happy that that's what you decided to do.
Yeah, it was weird to go back and listen to it because it's just 5 years ago, but so much has happened since then. Like all three of the Star Wars movies have happened. Terminator has had a complete reboot since Genesis, and some of the other things that we talked about. And the only thing that kind of held up was my opinion of Fury Road, which came out that summer.
It's already been 5 years since that movie came out.
I know, it's crazy.
That's nuts.
I
That's
wonder,
absolutely nuts. But no, it was fun to go back and listen to that. Every now and then I like going back and listening to old shows
yeah,
just to kind of compare what was happening then to what's happening now. If we knew back then what 2020 was going to be like.
yeah. But you had a pretty
Um,
good couple of weeks. You had a nice little vacation jaunt.
I did. So last Thursday, or the day that I left to go to California, was my girlfriend's birthday. So we went out there to celebrate that, and also her best friend lives out there.
Mm,
Her husband's in the Navy, so he's stationed right outside of San Diego. And her friend had her first baby a couple of months ago, so she wanted to go see the baby and hang out with them and everything. So we did that, and then went to Los Angeles for a couple of days. A lot of stuff is closed,
mm,
but there was still plenty of stuff to do. Like we could still walk around downtown LA, look at the Walk of Fame, walk around San Diego, which I'm not gonna lie, I liked San Diego a lot.
yeah.
Like it was, and the weather there was perfect. It was like high 60s, low 70s every
Uh-huh.
day
Yeah.
with very little clouds. And I'm like, man, I want to live out here. Why does it have to be so expensive?
Yeah. I've heard it's quite pricey to live in San Diego.
Well, late last year, I looked at some places to live outside of LA, and let's just say that my house payment is cheaper than a one-bedroom apartment out
Wow.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rampage, I unfortunately did not meet Carmen in San Diego. I did look for her. I have no clue where in the world she's at, but I could not find her. But no, it was a really fun trip. It was good to just kind of get away and in a way like be disconnected from everything for about a week because I didn't check my work email. I didn't really do anything as far as like outside projects. I just went strictly to get away from everything. So I think it was much needed, but it was a lot of fun.
I wish I could make another trip. I've been saving my money to make another trip up to New Jersey to see our friend Joey Image. I planned on going in Christmas, but looks like everything's going to be back to not good during Christmas. So I'm gonna hold off on my trip for a while. I wanted to go to New York. I wanted to see the tree at Rockefeller Center. I wanted to go to the Nintendo World in New York and just do a lot of stuff I didn't get to do last time I was up there. But it's a crap time in the world right now, man. It's if future scholars are listening back to all these old podcasts, hundreds of years in the future, we are recording from the pandemic of 2020, and we're in the middle of it right now. It's almost the Christmas season, and things aren't looking good.
No, and that was why I feel like I went on my vacation at the right time because things were actively closing as I was out there.
Yeah,
Like there were still like all museums closed like the day after we got there, and there were other like restaurants and other businesses that were open the day that we got there, but a couple of days later they had already shut down.
yeah, they're
So
going into a big lockdown right now. So, wonder if
yeah,
that's probably going to have to happen again all over the country because we can't, you know, we can't. We're not allowed to do things ourselves because we just can't handle it. We're like the kids that have to get slapped on the wrist and like now you're getting sent to your room.
pretty much. And it's unfortunate because there's a lot of stuff that that like me personally, that I'm looking forward to, that's supposed to happen early next year, that still isn't, confirmed to happen.
Yeah,
Like who knows if Pensacon will happen?
I know. It's gonna suck if it doesn't happen.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what I'm gonna do if we don't have Pensacon.
We'll have to have a little tiny Pensacon. We'll have our own Pensacon.
That'd be great. But
Mixmaster
yeah,
asked in the chat room if anybody got a PS5 or an Xbox. I plan on getting the Xbox S series, but I'm gonna wait a few months. I always wait at least 6 months after the launch of a new console to let them work the bugs out of it before I go and get one. I learned my lesson with the Xbox 360. I went and got that thing when it first launched, and it red ringed on me twice. So I was like, you know what? From now on, I'm just gonna wait.
there's been very few video game moments that have been anxiety inducing to me as the red ring of death.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you in the sense that I'm gonna wait until sometime early next year. I still don't know which console I'm gonna get yet. I'm leaning more towards the Xbox,
hmm
but if I get one, it'll be early to mid next year.
My thing with it is, it just seems like Xbox has the better value this time around, especially with
Agreed.
the Game Pass and being able to have all the old games that I already had associated with my account, all the downloadable games that I had. A lot of the indie games that I had on the Xbox 360, I'll be able to bring those back and play on the Xbox S. That's highly motivating for me to get one. And I love my PS4. Don't get me wrong. I play some great games on that thing, but I've always been an Xbox guy. Then this last generation was the only time I didn't get an Xbox because the Xbox One just didn't do it for me. The PS4 did this time around, but coming up this next round, there's nothing that really Sony is dangling in front of me. There's no carrots they're dangling in front of me that make me
Yeah.
want to get a PS5. So there's really nothing there.
Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat as you when it comes to like I think if you look at it at face value, the Xbox is the way to go.
Absolutely.
And this was the only time, yeah, that because I got a 360 over the PS3, and then I got the PS4 over the Xbox One.
Yeah.
So I'll likely switch back to Xbox
Hello,
for
Hodoken Masters. He says in the chat room that ultimately PlayStation always ends up having better exclusives than Xbox, which is true. But I don't know. Microsoft has made some strides buying up different game developers this go around. I mean, they picked up a couple of different game publishers to get some exclusives themselves. So I think they're going to give Sony a run for their money this time around. But we'll see. I mean, you never know. I might end up with both of them. You never know. I might get an Xbox first and then end up with a PS5 down the road. But right now, it's looking like it's going to be the Xbox for me.
I agree with Mixmaster. He says the PS5 design is bad. It reminds me of a router.
Yeah, it does. But I'm ready to go into the news. How about you?
Yeah, let's do it.
This comes to us from I Am the Rampage via email. This is from inverse.com. Never heard of this site before. Rumored Castlevania remake could resemble Bloodborne. Soon, Sony might be in the process of acquiring a handful of iconic Konami franchises to reboot as PlayStation 5 exclusives. And in addition to rumors about a Silent Hill revival, a new and somewhat sketchy rumor claims that Sony also wants to revive a classic action-adventure gothic horror series by emulating Bloodborne, one of the single best games from 2015. Rumor recounted last week from Jack of All Controllers resurfaced an anonymous post originally published in mid-January on less than trustworthy forum 4chan. These alleged leaks were largely ignored for months until the trustworthy leaker and online publisher Aesthetic Gamer revealed that they'd heard from sources familiar with the matter that Sony wanted to revive Silent Hill for the PS5, but also that the company wanted to acquire the rights to the Metal Gear and Castlevania franchises. So if they come out with a Castlevania, A new Castlevania game that's exclusive to PS5. Now that's very, very tempting to get a PS5.
That would be a huge get by
Yeah, it would.
Sony if that were to happen. I mean, even like in addition to Castlevania, mentioning like Metal Gear, Silent Hill, if they got both of those too, that would be that would be a game changer.
Yeah,
I had no clue that it's been nearly 6 years since a Silent Hill game.
I know. The last one that I played was Silent Hill 2, I think, on the PS2. And I had
Hmm.
to stop playing it after a few days because it was giving me nightmares. Like, that game's crazy.
Never played a Silent Hill game.
Oh, they're horrifying. I If you like horror games, they're probably some of the best you can get. But at the same time, like it was like severely giving me nightmares, so I had to stop playing it.
If they give you nightmares, I should probably stay away.
Yeah.
But no, if they got the exclusive rights to these franchises like
Hmm.
that, that would be something that could really turn some heads.
Yeah. Well, they've already got exclusive rights to Metal Gear. That's always been a Sony PlayStation
True.
exclusive. But if they get the Castlevania franchise, dude, if they come back with a Contra franchise, if they're starting to pick up Konami franchises, holy crap! If they come out with a whole new version of Contra, I'm in.
For sure. Yeah, Rampage says Bloodborne is the closest thing to a Dark Souls game that I've ever played. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, I know of Dark Souls, but
I
I
never
haven't played
played the
that
Dark
either.
Souls game. I've heard it's really difficult, and I'm just not into pounding my head against the wall to play a game these days.
Yeah, yeah. If Castlevania would be huge
Yeah, it
if they
would.
get it for the PS5. But our next story comes to us from NintendoLife.com. I always get the Christmas themed articles and I love it. Puma is releasing a pair of NES themed sneakers just in time for Christmas. Puma has been doing some neat sneaker collaborations of late, taking on both Mario and his erstwhile rival Sonic. And now the sports brand is back with a pair of shoes which celebrate the iconic NES console. The Future Rider sneakers are due for release on December 4th, 2020, and boast the famous NES coloring, a power button on the side, and Super Mario Brothers detailing on the tongue. There's no word on how much these are going to cost, but we can imagine they will prove to be a very popular with Nintendo fans. They're also releasing new designs as part of its Puma X Super Mario Brothers range, which you can view below. We already knew about the Sunshine and Galaxy versions, but there are two new designs as well, which arrive on November 27th. So there's four different shoes, and
Actually,
I
I think
gotta
it's
say,
five. Is it? Isn't it five? Because you got the one that looks like that's got the Nintendo
okay,
aesthetic.
yeah, I didn't count the one at the top.
Yeah, and it's got
There's
the.
four other ones at the bottom.
It
Yeah.
looks like it has the box art for Super Mario Brothers on the tongue, with
Mm-hmm.
Mario shooting the fireball. I like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Honestly, out of these five, the one at the top, the NES one, is probably my favorite.
Yeah, I like that one, and then I like the one at the very bottom, on the bottom left. The purple and black ones looks like it's got the star on it on the
Mm-hmm.
side.
Yeah, the Luma from Mario Galaxy.
Yeah, that one looks kind of cool too. I like that one. I kind of like the Mario. I guess this is a Mario 3 themed, or
Mm-hmm.
the one on the top right.
Yeah, because it's got the little raccoon Mario tag. Well, no, he's got the wing
No,
cap
yeah, I
from
don't.
Mario 64.
Yeah, it might be, but I don't know. I can't really tell. It doesn't have them labeled or anything. But I
Yeah,
do really like the NES themed one. Those were the ones I would probably go for.
yeah, same. It makes me think of, I think it was back in 2016 when Nintendo did a partnership with Vans. They
Oh
had
yeah,
some really cool ones. I was able to get the NES controller design shoe that I still have, but a lot of them, like, they just sold so quickly that they were just really tough to
oh yeah.
find.
It doesn't give a price on these either. How much they're gonna be? Hmm. Nope. It does not have any
Yeah,
pricing anywhere yet. I would imagine these are probably gonna be about $50, probably 50, 60
yeah.
bucks.
Yeah, 60 is probably where I would go. Which I mean is no cheaper than or more expensive than other shoes of that brand. So
Yeah.
if I can find a pair of these NES ones, I'll likely get them
Yeah, me too.
because I like the design a lot.
This is another story that came from I Am the Rampage via email. At NintendoEverything.com, there's a rumor that Dragon's Dogma 2, Mega Man Match, a new Onimusha, Monster Hunter 6 remakes, and more mentioned in Capcom leak. Capcom has been hit by significant leaks over the past few days. Following a network breach, news regarding the company's future plans began to spread online. Among the news concerned English localization of the Great Ace Attorney titles, as well as another collection for the series, and even Ace Attorney 7. Never heard of those. It seems that the leaks have continued, and arguably in an even bigger way, a tentative plan for Capcom's lineup from Q4 2021 through 2024 supposedly leaked today, revealing even more unannounced projects. They have a full lineup here. They have Resident Evil Outrage for end of 2021, Dragon's Dogma 2, Street Fighter 6, Rockman, which is Mega Man in English, for Q3 2022. A Resident Evil 4 remake, that's the one I'm waiting on. Onimusha New Work, I love Onimusha Warlords. Monster Hunter 6, Biohazard Apocalypse, Super Street Fighter 6, Final Fight remake, I'm ready for that one. Power Stone remake, Ultra Street Fighter 6, and Resident Evil Hank. Who the hell is Resident Evil Hank? Is he some trucker that comes into the Resident Evil franchise? Like, hey, this is Hank. I'm here to tear shit up.
It's the long-awaited collaboration between Resident Evil and King of the Hill.
Yeah.
I think it's cool that they've essentially got a 5-year plan
Yeah.
with these. Like you look at all the way to the end of 2024. I mean, that sounds like a long ways away, but to be perfectly honest, with as fast as things go these days, it'll be here before you know it. And it's to
Mm-hmm.
me, it's a good sign that a company has plans that extend beyond like 2021.
Yeah. I like Capcom games too. Capcom's always been a pretty solid developer. And when they're talking about new Onimusha games, and yes, Mixmaster, Onimusha were great games. And I don't think they were hugely popular because I never hear people talking about the Onimusha games. But man, those were some of my favorite. When I think of the PS2, Onimusha Warlords is the first game that pops in my head because I think that was actually the first game I ever played for the PS2 was Onimusha Warlords because I think it was a launch title, if I'm not mistaken.
I can't remember if it was or not. But there are a couple of games on this list that I'm looking forward to, like the Final Fight remake. I'll definitely want to play. I'm curious as to what
Rampage
Mega
says,
Man matches.
I'm here to kill zombies and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum for Resident Evil Hank.
Love that quote.
But yeah, I'm
Let's
excited
see.
about this, honestly.
Yeah, no, there's some stuff there, over the next few years that I'm looking forward to. I'm curious of what Mega Man matches.
Yeah, I know. I wonder if that's going to be sort of a like Mario 35 or Tetris
99.
Tetris 99. I wonder if that's going to be like a Mega Man style um not cage match. What am I trying to say? That game type.
Like a battle royale.
Yeah, like a battle royale cage match. Mega Man cage match. Who would you have in a Mega Man cage match? Dude, that would be an awesome um Smash Brothers mode cage match. Who would you
Man.
want in your cage match? I'm definitely going with Mega Man.
Oh, Mega Man would be a good one. Like who? But who would his opponent be?
You
Like
could
what's
have
the?
Samus.
Yep.
You could have Mario with whatever power up you would want Mario to have, like the Fire Flower or the Tanuki suit, or Yoshi. You could have him with
Yep.
Yoshi. Let's see, who else could be in there? You could have Luigi in there.
I think you'd have to have the ultimate hero versus villain tag team match Bowser and Ganondorf versus Mario and Link.
Oh, that'd be so awesome. Like, get on this, Nintendo. Let's do a cage match style wrestling game, but Smash Brothers style with a cage match.
I would love it.
How awesome
God,
would that be?
could you imagine doing like even more like outlandish wrestling matches, like freaking casket match?
Like, imagine like Bowser doing a top rope elbow drop, Randy Savage style elbow drop on Mario. That would be awesome.
Oh my God, that would be. If that happened, like honestly, you could probably just end my life after I play that game because it
Oh, that'd
won't
be
get too
great.
much better than that.
That sounds. I would play that.
Oh, day one purchase in a heartbeat. Like that would be one that if I mean I'd likely buy it online, but if we could only buy games physically, I would do some of those moves to people in front of me in line
Yeah.
in order to get to it.
Nintendo World Cage Match.
Cage
I'm
match.
down for that. Then you could actually put real wrestlers in there. You could have like Hulk Hogan, like 80s era Hulk Hogan against Bowser.
Oh my God.
Randy Macho Man Savage against like Solid Snake.
Uh I'm just picturing an interaction between I'm trying to think of who would pair well with The Rock.
Simon Belmont.
Yes.
Yes.
That would be God, just the muscles alone would be freaking amazing.
You could have Little Mac against like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, that'd be great.
I'm down for that. This is a good idea because I might get Nintendo on the phone. Call up Nintendo of America. Who's running Nintendo now after Reggie left?
I feel like if Reggie were still in charge, he'd be all for the
Oh
idea.
yeah.
Now I've never met Reggie, but I'd actually like to meet Reggie one day.
Maybe he'll do some appearances one day at like cons or something. Maybe.
We should try and interview him for episode 300 of the show.
That'd be awesome. We need to get started on that now.
Yeah. All right, so moving on to our next story. This comes to us once again from NintendoLife.com. Sealed copy of Super Mario Bros. 3 sells for $156,000, breaking another world record.
Wow.
Earlier this year in July, a sealed copy of Super Mario Bros. For NES sold for 114 grand. It set a new record for the most expensive video game ever sold. While most probably expected it to hold the record for some time, the highest paid price for a video game at an auction has now been broken again. Heritage Auctions revealed it sold a sealed copy of the 1990 NES game Super Mario Bros. 3 on Friday for $156,000. The lot opened building at $62,500, already an impressive sum for the game graded 9.2. But 20 bidders got in the game, sending the final price soaring towards the world record during what would become the world's first ever $1 million video game auction. That's crazy because I remember us talking about the sealed copy of the original Mario Brothers, and I think we even said that we expected that to be the most expensive one ever sold for some time.
Yeah.
But here we are, 4 months later.
Well, the reason that this one is going for so much money, because this is a sealed copy of, I think this is the mess up boxes where they have Bros on the left covering up his glove. Like you see my poster back here, you've got Mario Brothers up above the hat, and that's the way it normally is. But on this one, it's actually on the left, and I don't think there were very many of those. And if you find one sealed, you're in the money.
I wish I had something like this that I could sell for a 6-figure deal.
Yeah, no kidding. All I would do all week is just this show. It would be Nerd Cave every night of the week.
Oh, absolutely.
That's crazy. Absolutely. I wish I could find one of these in the wild with somebody that doesn't know what they have.
What would your reaction be if that happened?
If I found one of these in the wild?
Yeah.
I'd be like, I'll take it off your hands. You know, I'll give you $10 for it.
uh, that
Then I'd be shaking as I'm handing them the money.
just deep breaths.
Just play it cool, man. Just play it cool. But is this our
Man.
last story? This is our last story here, isn't it? Yep.
It is, yes.
This is from NintendoLife.com, one of my favorite sites. Capcom's releasing a mini arcade system pack with Mega Man and Street Fighter games, and it will be available this Christmas in Japan. I hope it comes here soon. The craze for micro consoles shows no sign of slowing down, with Capcom now revealing that it is about to release a mini arcade machine pack with classic titles. Dubbed the Retro Station, this tabletop has an 8-inch screen and weighs 2.1 kilograms. It comes with the following titles: Mega Man The Power Battle, Mega Man 2 The Power Fighters, Mega Man X, Mega Man Soccer, Mega Man and Bass, Japanese console version, Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition, Super Street Fighter 2, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo. And the unit has been on sale on Amazon Japan. It doesn't have any pricing information, though. It says it previously said 21,780 yen, which is around $210 American. Will release on Japan on December 1st. It doesn't say when it's going to be released in America, but this thing is actually pretty cool looking.
Yeah, I would be afraid that I would break it.
Yeah, it does look kind of flimsy in the neck area, but I like the way it looks, though. I wish it was more solid.
I think also it would make a really great display item.
Yeah.
Like if you had like a nerd room where you had just like old consoles, like this would look great on like that type of a shelf.
Yeah.
What I'm curious about is like I'm looking at the titles that are with it. What is Mega Man and Bass?
I've never heard of that before in my life. That's got to be some sort of Japan only Rockman and Bass or something like that, because I've never heard of that either. And yeah, Mixmaster Gunsmoke is a great Capcom game. That's one of the best ports from a arcade game to the NES. That's one of the best ports.
I kind of remember this game.
And I haven't played Willow. I need to get a copy of Willow.
Like the movie?
No. There was a licensed Capcom game for the Nintendo of the movie Willow, but I've never played it.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's actually really cool. Yeah, so Mega Man and Bass was actually released. It was released in Japan for the Super Famicom in April of 1998, but then was later ported to the Game Boy Advance in 2002 and was released in America in March of 2003.
Well, that's why I'd never heard of it.
So let's see. Yeah, I mean, it's essentially a spin-off game where Bass is like an evil version of Mega Man.
Oh, okay. That's a stupid name.
And I was like, is Mega Man going fishing or something?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Or is he bass fishing, or is he playing bass for a band?
Yeah. Mega Man Rock Band.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and move into this month in video game history, shall we?
Yes.
Speaking of Mega Man, November 1st of 1990, Mega Man 3 is released in the U.S. I just got my copy of that a few months ago. I need to do a review of that.
Yes, you do. It's crazy how the box art improved for that series.
Oh, yeah.
As it progressed. Like, I like the Mega Man 3 box art a lot.
Did you ever see any gameplay of Resident Evil 3, the remake for Resident Evil 3?
Mm-mm.
They have a Capcom office in the game, and if you go in that office, there's like a statue of the original weird-looking Mega Man from the original Mega Man box art, and it's awesome.
I
You should
love
try to
that.
look that up on YouTube when we're done.
I like that a lot, actually.
It's so ugly.
But the thing is, like, it's so bad that it's in a way part of video game lore.
Honestly, it may be one of those things that like it was so bad that it made people wonder what the hell it was as a game, and maybe sold more copies than it did. I don't. And it's also like like it makes people talk about Mega Man because they're like, man, that box art sucks, but they're talking about Mega Man. So maybe it
Yeah,
was a good decision to put that ugly ass artwork on the front.
brilliant marketing.
Mm-hmm.
In November of 1991, Nintendo releases Metroid 2: The Return of Samus for the Game Boy in North America. Actually, very underrated Metroid game.
I remember you
I
enjoying that game when you
Yep,
reviewed it.
yeah, I reviewed it when we did Metroid Month a while back here on
Mm-hmm.
the show. And I feel like a lot of Game Boy games from that era got overlooked because they were on the Game Boy. Because it's still like people enjoyed the Game Boy, but it wasn't as popular as the home consoles. So games like this,
Mm.
the Mario Land series, and even Link's Awakening up until recently weren't as talked about, even though the Game Boy did have really good games, and this was one of them.
Yeah, it's weird that Metroid was such a huge title for Nintendo back in the day. It's kind of weird why they put Metroid 2 on the Game Boy, but they never made a Metroid 2 for the NES.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't really make much sense.
Yeah. November 23rd of 1993, Sega releases Sonic the Hedgehog Spinball for the Sega Genesis, and I reviewed this a while back. I enjoy Sonic Spinball a good bit. It's one of those games you can just pick up and play, even though it is kind of frustrating, but it's just kind of mindless fun. There's like nothing really you got to think about. It's just pinball. So if you like pinball and you like Sonic, you'll like Sonic Spinball.
It's a marriage between two game types that you wouldn't think work, but actually work really well together. Like
Yeah.
you think, oh, Sonic pinball game. After a second, you're like, yeah, I could see that.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's a fun game. Like I didn't have it for the Genesis, but I did have it for the Game Gear,
Yeah.
and it was a lot of fun. I like Sonic Spinball.
Yeah, I mean, if I had a Sega, I mean, I do have a Sega Genesis console, but I'm not going to go out of my way to go find a copy of Sonic Spinball. But if it's on a collection of Sonic games, or it's on the Genesis Mini, like it's a fun game to just fire up and play.
Hmm. Yeah, if you want to kill some time for a bit,
Hmm.
it's a great game to do it.
That'd be a fun game to play on the Switch.
Oh, for sure.
I wonder if it's on. Is it on Sonic Mania or the compilation Sonic?
I'm not
I'm gonna
sure.
have to look and see.
On November 21st of 1994, Nintendo releases Rare's Donkey Kong Country for the Super Nintendo, featuring 3D pre-rendered graphics, and also introduces the characters of Diddy Kong and King K. Rool, one of the best Super Nintendo games of all
Hmm.
time. I know we've praised this game endlessly on the show, and it was actually one of the first games I think that I ever
Hmm.
reviewed
It still
when we started this show.
looks so good. I mean, it is. It still goes down to me as one of the best looking video games of all time. I mean, it still looks great to this day.
Well, graphics wise, especially with the backgrounds, I felt like was ahead of its time
Hmm.
because I don't remember playing a game that looked like Donkey Kong Country. Like this was 3 years into the Super Nintendo being around, and already, there was a company that was pushing the graphic limits
Yeah.
of what the console could do, and that with a style that hadn't really been seen by the public before. Yeah, and not just that, but it actually plays really well. Like it's not just a great looking game; it's a great game to play.
Yeah.
And the two sequels to it are good as well. So
That's the thing
I
about the
love
game.
I
I mean,
love Donkey Kong
it
Country.
looks great, and the controls are just they're like even to this day, man. They're like butter. They're so good.
Mm-hmm.
And like and it's one of those games like the controls are so good that you're only as good at the game as you practice, you know?
Yeah.
Because if you suck at the game, it's because you just suck as a player. I don't
Yep.
know any other way to say it because like those controls are perfect.
No, agreed.
Also on November 23rd of 1994, Blizzard Entertainment releases the real-time strategy game Warcraft, which spawns a franchise and influences many later games. You can say that again.
Warcraft did okay for itself.
Yeah, it did. I never played any of the real-time strategy games back in the day.
Well, another thing about Warcraft, I believe it's Warcraft, created the one of the most infamous internet videos of all time.
Oh yeah,
Leroy
yeah.
Jenkins.
But yeah, I never really got into the real-time strategy stuff until a few years ago. Really, well, I'd say the Xbox 360 era with the was Civilization Revolution. That was really the first game that kind of made me like the real-time strategy genre. Um, Even though it's not quite the same, as the Warcraft type games. So because of the Sid Meier's game, I went on to play. Uh, what was the other Blizzard game that they had? The space one, not Warcraft, but not Spacecraft.
Was it StarCraft?
Starcraft. I don't know why I couldn't think of the word star. But yeah, I played Starcraft for a while, and that was fun. And I've played a few real time strategy games since then. It's a genre I like, but it's got to be something that, a franchise that I enjoy.
My thing with real-time strategy games, I would love to play them, but knowing my personality when it comes to video games,
Yeah.
I wouldn't do anything else. Like I have an actual like slight problem when it comes to certain games.
Yeah. What
And
was
I,
that?
I knew if I got into Warcraft, there was a Star Wars one several years ago that I briefly got into, but I started playing it so much that I was like, I have to stop.
What was the Halo game? Was it Halo Wars that was out, I think, for the
Yes.
original
Yep.
Xbox? Yeah, that one was really good. I played that one too. I
Yep.
really like that one.
Yeah, that one was really good. On November 19th of 1998, Half-Life is released by Valve for Microsoft Windows. People still wanting Half-Life 3.
Yeah, well, they kind of got a Half Life 3 with the VR Half Life game that they just released not too long ago.
This also was released for PlayStation 2. So
Yeah,
I never played the Half-Life game. I mean, I know how popular it was back in the day because I remember just seeing stuff about it almost, ad nauseum,
yeah.
how popular this franchise was, but I never played it.
Oh, God, people are crazy over Half Life. People love that
Hmm.
game.
Yeah.
November 22nd of 1999, Rare releases Donkey Kong 64 for the N64.
One
Never played
of,
that one.
to me, it's a little underrated and it gets more hate than it should. The It's a little collectible heavy
Yeah.
would be my biggest critique of it because you have to play as 5 different characters.
Hmm.
So there's like coins and like if you're a perfectionist, there are like coins and bananas that you can collect that are specific to each Kong. So say like if you're playing as Donkey Kong, the bananas and coins you collect will be yellow. For Diddy Kong, they'll all be red. For Lanky Kong, they're blue, and they change depending on what character you're using. So in a way you're having to go through each world 5 different times.
Oh, yeah, that sucks.
So it's a lot, but I still enjoy the game.
Yeah.
It's one that I know I don't have to collect every single thing, but because to me like that would just drive me insane if I tried to get everything from every character. But it's a fun game to play, and it adds some cool new characters to the Donkey Kong universe.
Yeah.
And it's a rare game, so like I'm gonna be a little biased on
Yeah.
that, but it's worth playing. I like Donkey Kong 64. And then to close us out for this month in video game history, November 17th of 2000, THQ releases WWF No Mercy for the N64, which is regarded as one of, if not the best wrestling game ever created.
Yeah, I remember we've talked about this in the past. The
I haven't
WWF
reviewed
games for the Nintendo 64.
Yeah, I haven't reviewed No Mercy yet. I have reviewed WrestleMania 2000, which I actually prefer over No Mercy just because I like the story mode
Hmm.
of WrestleMania 2000. And what was cool was to me being able to unlock everything from that game. And you could do it through No Mercy too, but I strictly remember from WrestleMania 2000, unlocking the different characters that Mick Foley portrayed
Yeah.
and going through the whole story as Stone Cold Steve Austin. And then when you get to WrestleMania, once you beat whoever you're playing, then Shawn Michaels comes out as a hidden character, and you have to beat him in order to unlock him. And you do the same thing with No Mercy too. That I think when it comes to the creator wrestler mode, No Mercy has Mania 2000 beat,
Hmm.
but they're both really fun games. I should review No Mercy like early next year, maybe around WrestleMania time.
Yeah, because hopefully Retromania Wrestling will be out soon too. That
I
thing was
know. I
supposed to
want
be
to
out like
play that
6 months ago.
Yeah, it was supposed to come out in July.
Yeah, June or
At least that's
July,
what I
somewhere on
thought.
there. Still not out. Come on,
Yeah,
guys.
I've been waiting for it.
Me
It,
too.
it looks like a really, really fun game.
I know. I want to play it online with you,
It's going to be so much fun once it does come
and
out.
we'll do a
I
dual
can't wait to
review
do
for
that.
it.
Yes.
But before we go into the review for tonight, Derek has shout outs.
Yes, as always, we'd like to shout out our awesome patrons over at patreon.com/nerdcaveretro. We want to shout out Armez Jackson, XBlade07, Daniel Salmon, John Jekyll, aka Mixmaster, Carlos Longoria, Staff Sergeant Sketch, Randy Bailey, and Tyler Watson. Thank you guys so much, as always, for keeping the lights on here on the Nerd Cave Retro Show. And because you keep us at the $50 level, we will continue to do fun commentary tracks. And actually, this weekend, we will be recording the commentary track for Batman Mask of the Phantasm, which I
Mm-hmm.
cannot wait for because I love that movie so much.
Me too.
So we'll be doing that. And we do have a couple of new features that I know Jason and I talked about over the break that we'll get into at the end of the show. But there will be some new things coming to the Patreon. So if you want to be a part of it, just head over to patreon.com/nerdcaveretro.
And tonight, Derek's going to be talking about. All right, it's good.
All right, so I couldn't hear the music for some
Oh,
reason.
you couldn't hear it? I was wondering if you
Mm-mm.
couldn't hear it or not. Sorry. I'll,
Yeah,
I'll
no,
cut this little part out.
it's all good. So this week I will be reviewing Altered Beast for the. It was originally released in arcades in August of 1988. How crazy is that? This game was released in the 80s. I initially thinking about it, I thought it was like 92 or 93
Mm-hmm.
when this game came out,
No,
but
this was one of the first. This was actually the pack-in game before
yep.
Sonic.
Yep, for the Sega Genesis, yeah. So it's a 1988 beat 'em up arcade game developed and manufactured by Sega. And I remember vaguely knowing about this game when I was a kid because I remember back in the day when they would have the actual consoles out on display in stores that you could play,
Mm-hmm.
Altered Beast was an option. Now I never played it, but I remember just hearing the title. And then there's a game show that I used to watch that I've mentioned a couple of times on the show called Nick Arcade, where as part of the game show, the contestants could play select demos from certain games, and they would have to meet like a certain objective. And one of them was Altered Beast. So I knew the name from early on, but when it came to the Genesis, I strictly used it to play Sonic, and I didn't really have any other games for it. But when I saw that this was on the Genesis Mini, I was like, okay, well, I'll finally get to try it. And not knowing a ton about it, and that was one of the things that I wanted to do when it came to playing the game. Like, I knew a little bit about it, but I wanted to just kind of dive in before I actually learned more about it.
Mhm.
So, the game itself is set in ancient Greece, and follows a player character resurrected by Zeus to rescue his daughter Athena from the ruler of the underworld known as Neph. Now, that initially drew me into the game because when I was in college, I took a mythology class my freshman year and learned a lot about Greek mythology. And I love like Greek and Norse mythology specifically.
Yeah, same here.
Yes, there's just something about, the story of, the gods who can do all these different things. Like you have Zeus who's the leader over everyone, and you have other gods that do specific things and have specific abilities. And reading the stories of like how they work together and everything, and even like feud with each other, it was something that when I was in college I was like immediately drawn to. So that kind of drew me in, but unfortunately that's about where the enjoyment of the game stops
One thing
for
I
me.
like about this, it says that Altered Beast was developed and took inspiration for the game from The Howling and the music video for Thriller.
I can kind of see that
Yeah.
a little bit, but my thing is I didn't know that this was initially an arcade game. I didn't read that until after I started playing it. Once I read that, it made sense that it was initially an arcade game because it plays a lot like one.
Hmm.
It's not very long. I believe there are only 5 or 6 worlds that you go through, and none of them are very long.
Hmm.
And there are some cool aspects of the game. So essentially what you do is you go through different worlds. As I mentioned, you play as a character who's resurrected by Zeus, essentially to be Zeus's champion to rescue Athena from the ruler of the underworld. So you go through these different worlds. You're fighting demons, werewolves, other types of creatures, and you get these things called spirit balls, and you get stronger the more you collect. So you play as like a generic Greek warrior who's wearing like a singlet, and his look changes a bit for every spirit ball you get. So you're after you collect one, like his muscles get a little bit bigger, and like the top part of the singlet, is kind of ripped a bit. You collect the second one, the top part of it rips completely. You're like buff as hell. You look like a pro wrestler.
Isn't it weird? Like the bigger you get in the game, your head never gets any bigger. So it's just like your head stays the same size, but your
Yeah,
body keeps getting bigger. Like that's weird.
you essentially have no neck whatsoever. It's just one muscle.
Yeah, like that's weird.
It's so weird.
It's
But
weird.
the I love that song. Oh my god, so
Oh
weird.
my god, it's so
But
weird, Mr. Carter.
oh man, the transformations in this game are cool. So I will give it that. And the transformations change depending on what world you're in. So once you collect your third spirit ball, you transform into a different creature. So in the first world, you're a werewolf. But get this, in the second world, and I think this might be my favorite, you're a were dragon.
Mm, awesome.
A combination between a werewolf and a dragon. And the first time that happened, I'm like, oh my God, I can fly. I'm going so fast. I can't control myself.
See, I never made it that far. I didn't even get past the first level. I played for a little bit and I was like, this ain't my thing.
And I made it to the third world before I stopped playing. But the thing with this game is that it's just so repetitive and
Hmm.
not in the good way. It works as an arcade title,
Yeah.
but as a console game, it does not. Like if they added a little bit to it and maybe added like 3 or 4 more worlds to it, then I could see it being a decent game. Like not a great game, but a solid game. But just to do a straight port of the arcade, I got, if I'm being perfectly honest, I got bored with it pretty quickly.
Yeah, there was just something about those those early ports where the games that were designed like this, they were designed to be quarter munchers is what they were. So the difficulty was kind of crazy hard. Like, Ghouls and Ghosts or Ghosts and Goblins,
Yeah.
arcade games that were ridiculously hard, and they were designed that way to just be, like I said, just to take your money. And they directly port them to the home console, but yeah, it's weird because like I don't remember in this game. Do you get infinite continues or lives in this game?
No.
No, and that's the thing. Like you don't get like in the arcade, you could just keep pumping in quarters until you defeat the game. The home console, you get like 3 lives and no continues, and you have to just start back over from the
Yep.
beginning over and over again, and it just gets so old and repetitive.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I made it to the second world. I had no lives left. I died about halfway through my playthrough of it. And my initial thought was, okay, well, I'll just start at the beginning of this level again. But no, it takes you back to the very beginning, and I'm like, oh, this sucks.
That stuff's okay when you're like 8 or 9 because you got nothing else to do, but
Yeah.
sit and play these games over and over again. When you're almost 40, or you're like me, over 40, you're just like, you're gonna put me back at the beginning of the level. I'm done. I don't have time for this crap.
Well, on a lighter note, let me list off the transformations for you.
Okay.
So you got a werewolf, a thunder were dragon, a werebear, which sounds like a mythical creature from South Park,
Uh-huh.
a were
Oh,
tiger,
cereals.
like man bear pig, or the final one, a golden werewolf.
Ooh.
So each one has its own different abilities. Like when you're the were dragon, you can shoot lightning bolts. The werebear has breath that I think like turns enemies to fossils. And then a werewolf is just, like really fast, and you can throw like projectiles and whatnot. And then you fight Neff at the end of each world. He just basically takes on a different form. And that was the thing too, is like the 2 boss battles I did were like too easy.
Yeah.
So it was just like it, and I hate to keep going back to this point, but I feel like I have to keep saying it because that's what I kept thinking over and over as I was playing this game. If I were playing this in an arcade, I would be okay with it.
Yeah.
But just as a straight port to the Genesis, I'm sorry, but it just doesn't work. You gotta give me a little something more, like a little bit of a longer game or different abilities, things like that. Or different attacks when you're just a normal human
Mm-hmm.
instead of just punch, kick, and jump. So, and I know it's kind of a shorter review, but it's really it's kind of a cut and dry type of game. Like it's okay. Like I've definitely played worse games and reviewed them on this show, but it's not one that I really have any desire to go back and play again,
Yeah.
or even to really recommend that anybody play. It's like
Well,
if you had a Genesis Mini and you're like, should I play Alter Beast? I'd be like, nah, you're probably good skipping it.
yeah. And that's the thing. Like, it's a blessing that Sega came up with Sonic, because if without Sonic, we wouldn't be talking about the Genesis today.
Yeah.
Because Altered Beast, I mean, for it was the original pack-in game, and it's a decent game to get with your console, but it's not one of those games that people talk about today, and there's a reason for that. And you hit it, you explain that in the review, that it's a direct port of the arcade
The
game, but
arcade.
there's nothing special about it. There's nothing that sets it apart. It's just your basic side-scrolling beat 'em up. There's nothing. There's just nothing that's great about it. Like Mario or Sonic. So if it wasn't for
Well,
Sonic, I don't know if the Genesis would have lasted like it did.
I don't think it would have, if I'm being honest. And I was actually looking forward to playing this game because, as I mentioned at the beginning of the review, it was one that I've known about for a long time, but knew little to nothing about it. And then when I saw that it had a Greek mythology aspect to it, I was like, oh, this is actually a cool thing. But that was actually one of the things that was knocked about the game was that the computer and video games criticized the game's plot as being unoriginal and the graphics as large and clumsily drawn.
Yeah.
Your Sinclair stated that the game was not recommended to those that are still living, which I think is a bit harsh.
Okay.
Uh, by contrast, Crash called the graphics nifty and suggested that despite the repetitive plot, the gameplay is compelling. The Games
Mm,
Machine offered a positive review stating that while the game is not highly visual like Outrun or Space Harrier, the gameplay makes the game worth a play. I will say this, if they had just added a little something like maybe given when you're a human, maybe you have the ability to get like a sword or some type of weapon to give it that little bit of an extra something
yeah.
and not just be like here's what was in the arcade because arcade games are different than console games. Like
Hmm.
people don't really talk about it, but arcade games aren't meant to be like these long-term compelling games because you go to an arcade for what at most a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Chances are you're not going to stand there and play the exact same game every single time. Like with Ninja Turtles, the arcade game, it works because of the multiplayer aspect
Hmm.
of it. You can port that game straight to, like the suit. I mean, they did it similar to Turtles in Time. You can have someone else play with you and go through that game, and it makes it fun.
Well, they also when
Alter-
they ported the arcade game to the NES, even though people say the NES version isn't anywhere near as good as the arcade version, they still added levels to it when they put it on the NES because I mean that's a relatively short game without those extra levels.
yeah, and I feel like this was a game that had I just sat down and just kept playing it, I feel confident that I could have beaten it. But that should tell you what this game is, in my opinion,
Yeah.
because it was one that I've played it over the span of a couple of days and just kept trying to get back into it. But once I got to a certain point and just kept dying, like when I made it to the third world, died and then had to go all the way back from the beginning, I was just like, I can't do it.
Yeah. Well, I
I
felt the
just
same. I felt the same way you did when I first played it. It was one of the first games I played when I got the Genesis Mini because this is one of the games I remember from being a kid, and it was one of the original packing games for the Genesis. So kind of had that mystique about it, and it was one of those games that I was always kind of around, throughout the life of the Genesis, and never got to play it and I was excited to jump into it, and I think I played it for maybe 10 minutes. I was already bored. I was like, this ain't my thing.
yeah. And that's kind of how it was with me too. So I mean, I'm not going to give it like a 1 cuz it wasn't that bad, but if I were to give it a score on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say like a 4.
Yeah.
It's slightly below average. I mean, trust me, I've played far worse games
Hmm.
than Altered Beast, but it's one that I wouldn't go out of my way to play again, nor would I really recommend to anybody.
Yeah. It's so middle of the road. You know,
Yeah.
doesn't do
And we've
anything
said it
great.
before.
It's not terrible, but it's not good.
When we've said it before, not every single game that we review on the show is going to be that, you know, compelling, epic, amazing video game. Like there are some that are just okay, and that's
Hmm.
how I would describe Altered Beast as being okay.
Yeah.
Graphically, I don't think it's terrible. The gameplay isn't terrible. It's just a very meh.
Yeah. I get it. Totally. I feel the exact same way. As soon as I played it for a few minutes. I was like, this is not great. Meh. Meh.
I'm curious as to like when I told you what I was going to review, how did you react to it?
I was like, I'm glad you did the review and not me, because I would have probably been a little bit more harsher on it. But
See, I review bad games.
yeah, I mean, I don't want to be, I wouldn't want to be too harsh on it, but at the same time, it's so mediocre.
Yep. I think that's actually the perfect way to sum it up. It's mediocre.
Yeah. Well, that's gonna do it for the review for tonight. We got a few things to talk about for you guys, especially you patrons. We got some changes coming up in January that me and Derek have been talking about for the show. One of the biggest ones is actually we're going to be changing recording nights. We're going to record on Thursday nights starting 1st of January. We're going to start instead of 7:30 on Wednesdays. We're moving to 8 o'clock Thursday nights. And that's 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific. Um, oh, Mixmaster, you're very welcome for this pre-Thanksgiving show. We wouldn't miss it, man. We had to be here.
Yeah.
Um, but we're gonna do another thing that I've been talking to our community manager, Bethany Fox, over on our Discord community manager about doing. We're gonna do a community spotlight here on the show once a month or once every 2 months, where we take somebody like Bethany Fox. He's going to be our first one we talk to about being our community manager, what he, kind of like what he does, just kind of spotlight people in our community, do like maybe a little 10-minute interview, 12-minute interview that we're going to put into the shows. So you guys and the patrons, you're going to get your time in the sun to kind of, if you got projects in the works or you want to just come on and just talk, a little interview about what you like about games, some of your favorite games, whatever. We're just going to do a community spotlight section on the shows, probably about once a month. And Derek, you want to talk about the Patreon polls coming up?
Yeah, so this is something else that Jason and I had talked about. So starting December 1st, we're going to be posting monthly polls on the Patreon. What we're going to do is once a month, we're going to, instead of doing a review, we're going to highlight a certain franchise and talk about, our experiences playing those games, thoughts on some of the stories, like anything related to that franchise. And you guys get to vote on what we talk about. So at the beginning of every month, we'll be posting a poll with, 3 to 4 different options. The poll will stay up through the entire month, and then whatever wins, that will be the monthly topic that we discuss. So I'm really looking forward to that because I know I've had a blast doing it for my show. I'll be excited to start doing it for this show because there's so many great franchises
Yeah.
that we can talk about. Like, how many tangents have we gone off
Oh
on
yeah.
about Zelda?
Well, not only that, but I mean, you patrons, if you have an idea for, a franchise you'd like us to talk about to add to the list, just you can message us on Patreon. You can email us. You can get a hold of us on Twitter. We're very easy to get a hold of. If you haven't joined, most of you guys are on our Discord. If you want to be a part of our Patreon, you're welcome. Come on in, join our community, be a part of our Discord. We need to actually send that link out every other day. I keep forgetting to do that, but we have a thriving Discord community of really good people. And just if you like this show and you want to be a part of a really good community, you're more than welcome to join us.
Absolutely. So some good stuff coming up here in the new year.
Yes, Mixmaster, you should join Twitter and see the awfulness of humanity with the rest of us. It's not. I don't think it's as bad as Facebook, though. Facebook is terrible.
Twitter is at least like the fun type of bad. Facebook, you just get angry. But Twitter, Twitter I get entertained
Yeah.
by watching people lose their mind about stuff.
I have an easier time on Twitter finding people that have similar interests as far as
Yeah.
video games and stuff like that. It's very easy to find, different communities to be a part of. Like that's how I got into the speed running community with the retro game speed runs that I've been doing the last couple of months. Like that's a really cool community to be a part of, and it's a fun community. And so yeah, you should join Twitter. It's pretty nice over there. You can.
Yeah.
It's easier to filter out the crap on Twitter, I find.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much gonna be the end of the show, I think. Unless you got anything else you want to throw out there before we go.
Real quick, if you haven't listened yet, check out the Ninja Turtles
Yes.
roundtable that we did for the Derek Diamond Experience. One of the most fun podcasts I've ever done.
That
I've
was.
been podcasting for a while.
I had a lot of fun doing that show. I went back and listened to it. I was like, man, this is such a good show.
Well, and I think, the three of us just have really good chemistry together. And the fact that it's a movie that the three of us like quite a bit and we knew a lot about it made it even better. But no, that was one of the most fun discussions that I've ever had on a podcast. So go check that out. And then next Wednesday, before we're back here on Nerd Cave Retro, I will be doing a live episode of the Derek Diamond Experience, top 5 Christmas movies.
Oh, sweet.
So-
I could tell you what my favorite one is.
Is it? Does it star Bruce Willis?
Well, yeah. Yeah, I would say that. But that's not necessarily my favorite Christmas movie, though.
What is your favorite Christmas movie?
Shitter was full.
That's going on my list too. That movie's so freaking good.
So good.
Yep. I'm gonna have to watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles tomorrow.
Yeah, I gotta watch it
That's
too.
That's my Thanksgiving tradition.
Dutch is a good Thanksgiving watch too, with Ed O'Neill.
There really aren't that many Thanksgiving movies.
No, not really.
At least not that I can think of off the top of my head.
And we could watch the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving where they're racist against Franklin and make the poor kid sit on one side of the table by himself because nobody wants to sit near the black kid.
Oh God. Yeah.
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 What can you say? It was the 60s.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I don't know. I don't want to get into a racist discussion today.
The only thing I have to say before we go is go check out Open Micers. We've been getting some great interviews lately, and go check out episode 27, last week's episode. We talked to Scott Page, who is an American musician, technologist, and entrepreneur. He played saxophone and rhythm guitar with Pink Floyd, Supertramp, and Toto, and also Diana Ross, which was awesome. It was a great interview with him. Go check that out at Open Micers on Twitter, and I think it's at, Open Micers on Facebook too.
Absolutely.
And that's going to do it for this week, so let's go ahead and play our music. If you would like to email us, you can email us at nerdcaveretro@gmail.com. We are at nerdcaveretro.com. We're on Instagram and Twitter at nerdcaveretro, and individually at Jayfunktastic and at Derek_Diamond. We are at Facebook at facebook.com/nerdcaveretro, and of course our Patreon at patreon.com/nerdcaveretro, where you can throw us a couple of bucks a month to keep us above that $50 level, and we will continue to do those commentary tracks for you. And like Derek said, this week we're doing Mask of the Phantasm this Sunday. So if you're a patron, you're going to get that a week before everybody else. And if you can't do that, can't throw us a buck a month, we understand. Go leave us a review wherever fine podcasts are sold. So Derek, please tell them what it's all about.
Gobble, gobble.
Yes.
Wise man say forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza.
That was a fun show.
Yes.
Mixmaster, hallelujah, holy shit. Where's the Tylenol?
Tylenol.
Oh, I can't wait to watch that movie. That's my yearly
Get
Thanksgiving.
this. So at AMC, they're doing private theater rentals now.
I saw that.
You for $100, you can watch Christmas Vacation with
What?
up to 20 people.
That might be a thing we need to do.
I know. I meant to bring that up earlier because I was like, I think we should do that.
Dude, even if we just got 5 of us, that's only like $20
It's
a
$20 a
piece
person
to go
to
see
get a whole theater.
a whole
Hell yeah.
theater. I like this idea.
Yeah.
We may have to do
Yeah,
this.
we'll-
Let's look at.
yeah.
Let's talk about it. Well, we may do this
Yeah,
over
no,
the
we'll-
holidays.
Yeah. No, we'll definitely chat about it.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for hanging out in the chat room tonight. You guys were very active, and I like that. And you guys, I'm thankful for you. You guys, all you guys in the chat room, all you patrons, all you listeners. That's what I'm thankful for. You guys have kept us going for 4 years now. Crazy. Over 200 episodes already.
It's nuts.
Wild. Weird, wild stuff.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. Like I said, thank you guys. Have a safe Thanksgiving. Take care of yourselves, please. Wear a mask. And if you're traveling, please be careful. Don't wash your hands and use hand sanitizer. Stay away from people, and have a happy Thanksgiving. Just take care of one another, please. Thank you. And you guys have a good night. We'll see you next week right here.